This is a quick summary of the Davis and Mulliger paper. The question that these authors are asking is, do regulators choose the socially optimal price schedule? And this is the price schedule for natural gas or electricity or water, any sort of utility provision. And typically what's done is you have two prices. You have a monthly fixed charge, which is supposed to cover the fixed costs of providing the service, like installing lines and having pipelines, etc. And then you have a monthly usage charge, which varies with the amount of the service that you use, the water, the electricity, etc. And so the question is, are these sort of two-tiered price schedules efficient? So for example, the regulated price for residential natural gas in Nevada is about $11 per month, which is their fixed charge. So even if you use no natural gas, you pay $11 per month. That's just having the service provided, having the pipelines hooked up to your house. And then above that, you have about a $9.50 usage charge per unit of natural gas that you use. The Henry Hub price of natural gas, sort of the benchmark price of natural gas, is $3 per unit. Now, under the current pricing structure, do households in Nevada consume too much or too little natural gas compared to the socially optimal quantity, assuming no externalities? So the question is, the marginal cost of natural gas is about $3. We're paying, or people in Nevada are paying about $9.50 per unit. Are they paying too much, plus the $11 fixed charge? So Davis and Mulliger are asking, is natural gas sold at marginal cost, as it should be? This could be asked of the electricity markets as well. They ask this, or they examine this question for the entire U.S. using 17 years of state-level data on monthly natural gas sales and prices. They use the retail price from natural gas paid by residential consumers, commercial consumers, and industrial consumers. And the wholesale cost of natural gas is from the monthly average prices per state. The results show that in every state, the retail price of natural gas is set above marginal cost, just like we saw in 2 slides ago in Nevada. The average markup, or the difference between prices and marginal cost over marginal cost, differ by sector. In the residential sector, the markups are about 48%. In the commercial sector, like shopping malls, the markups are around 43%. In the industrial sector, like manufacturing, the markups are much lower at about 2.5%. You might be asking, why would the markups be lower in the industrial sector? It's probably because those industries are purchasing natural gas in bulk, and so they produce forward contracts in which they're purchasing large quantities of natural gas up to, say, 10 years in advance, so they can bargain with a natural gas supplier. Davis and Mulliger are then estimating the deadweight loss associated with non-marginal cost pricing, and they find that deadweight loss is about $2.7 billion per year, or 3% of the total market for natural gas. This table, the columns in this table show estimates of deadweight loss by customer class with different elasticities. Maybe just focused on column 1 here using elasticities from their table 4. You can see residential consumers bear the most of the burden. The deadweight loss in the residential classes is the highest, and then the industrial consumers are bearing somewhat more than the commercial customers. But overall, there's a fairly large deadweight loss in this market because of non-marginal cost pricing. So then what explains why the per unit price of natural gas in the US is not set at marginal cost, which is the theoretically efficient price? Why is this so? Explanation 1, misaligned incentives. Firms want low fixed charges to be able to serve low usage customers who would otherwise not sign up. In other words, they want to keep those fixed charges low so that if you don't use very much natural gas, you're not paying very much. Extending the network to additional customers is good for the firm because it increases their rate base. Remember how that fixed charge is calculated? It's based on their fixed or sunk costs, which is this capital B here. And they want to increase B by increasing their customer base. This will still increase their profits even if revenues from serving new customers is less than the costs. Explanation 2 is kind of the same as explanation 1, but the fixed monthly charges are not large enough to cover the fixed costs of providing the service, so the variable rates are increased to account for this. And the variable rates are what we're calculating marginal cost based off of. So the consequence of this is with low monthly charges and high variable rates, most of the fixed costs of providing the network are borne by high usage consumers or the industry. Right, because if most of the fixed costs are transferred to the variable rates, then the high usage consumers are paying a larger fraction of the fixed costs than the low usage consumers who don't pay very much in variable costs. However, increasing monthly charges and reducing variable rates would then increase the burden on low usage or low income customers. That's because if you don't use very much and you have a high monthly charge, even though you don't use very much, then you're going to be paying a larger share of the fixed cost than in this alternatives pricing structure. With high fixed charges, low usage customers may find it optimal just to not be connected. And so the thought here is that the natural gas providers are keeping the fixed charges low in order to keep their rate base high. Explanation number 3 may be environmental externalities. Remember, environmental externalities create a wedge between the private and social marginal costs. Might regulators be charging above private marginal costs in order to reflect these external costs? Maybe they're doing this in a sort of backdoor way of internalizing the externalities. They're doing this on purpose. While this is theoretically desirable, it's unlikely. Because there's no reason for the regulators to care about the environmental externalities unless policy says they should.